What's up guys, AJ here. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the seller pre-qualification script. So the first question you might have about the seller pre-qualification script is, what's the purpose of it? Well, when you're setting seller appointments, you want to always confirm the appointment obviously, but you also want to go through a pre-qualification script. The pre-qualification script serves two main functions. The first one being, it sets you up as a professional, just like as if you were to go into a doctor maybe for a sprained ankle. If they didn't ask you any questions about your injury, like where the pain is, how would you feel about that? Would it really feel like that they care about the injury? Do you think they'd really understand the extent of your injury? I don't think so. That's why a doctor always has a list of questions that they're going to cover with you when you go into the doctor's office. And right off the bat, they're set up as the professional. So by going through a list of preset questions, you're setting yourself apart from the 99% of all real estate agents who are just showing up without getting any information up front. The second thing that this does is it eliminates unmotivated sellers. When working as a listing agent, you want to only be working with motivated sellers. If you're not pre-qualifying and you're listing a lot of houses where the seller is just not that motivated, you're going to have a lot of listings that are not selling, and that is not a great place to be as a real estate agent. So now let's just run through the script, and I'll stop at each question and just kind of talk about why I'm asking the question, what kind of responses you might get, and how to handle each question and maybe objections that might come up. There's a good chance that you might be familiar with some of the questions I'm going to ask. There's tons of pre-qualification scripts out there, and the best thing that you can do is really just find one that you like best and make it so that it works for you. This one has worked for me to list tons and tons of houses, so I'm sure that'll work for you too. If you want a copy of this, then just go to the link in the description and it'll be available there for you for download. So right off the bat, you're calling to confirm. Another way you could do this is actually ask this series of questions at the end of the prospecting call. Either way is okay. The way I typically did it is when I called to confirm the appointment, I'd ask the questions. If you're in good rapport though with the seller and they're asking all your questions and you haven't been on the phone for a very long time, if you can just roll right into the pre-qual script, that will really serve you well, because what if you can't get a hold of the seller in the future? Or what if when you do call to confirm, they're busy and they don't have time to ask the questions? So if you can get these answered right up front, that would probably be ideal, but it's not necessary. So either make sure you have this ready when you're on the phone calling the sellers, doing your prospecting, or when you call back to confirm the appointment. Let's dive in. Before I come out, there are a number of questions I need to ask you, okay? Right off the bat, you're setting yourself up as the expert. If what I say makes sense and you feel comfortable and confident that I can sell your home, are you planning to list your home with me when I come out on Tuesday at 4 p.m.? I like this question a lot because it gets commitment from them. If when you come out, everything that you say makes sense and they feel comfortable that you can get the house sold, they're going to list it with you. That way, when you're at the appointment, you can ask for the listing. You can get them to sign the listing paperwork because they've already committed to you that they're ready, willing, and able to sign the paperwork to sell the house. So there's no objections, whereas typically you might go on a listing appointment and they're like, well, we need to talk it over, we need to think about it, or we need to meet with any other agents. Right off the bat, you're getting commitment, they're ready to go if they're confident that you can sell it. It's also going to get any other objection that they might have out and in the open. And that's the goal with this entire script. You want to know what you're walking into. You want to know what objections you might be facing, what objections might come up while you're at the listing appointment. Number two is, are you planning to interview more than one agent for the job of selling your home? What you're trying to do is get as much information as you can during this process so you're as prepared as possible going into the listing appointment. Wouldn't it be good to know if they're interviewing more than one agent? And here's a little ninja trick for you. The follow-up question is, have you already set those appointments? They'll say yes or no, and this is what you follow up that with. Will you interview all agents before you decide? If the answer is no, you want to be the second agent in. That way, they've already seen one agent and they can make a decision because they've seen two, and you want to be second. If they say yes, absolutely, no questions asked, you want to be last. A great way to position you going last would be, do I have your word, or promise me, and you can make it fun, like, do I have your word that you'll meet with me before making your decision? Because you want them to be thinking about you when they're meeting with every other agent, that they can't make a decision before you come out. That is key. You don't want a seller calling you saying they've already hired somebody else. Number three, tell me again, where are you moving to? Your goal is to reconfirm motivation. You always want the seller to be thinking about, what are they really trying to accomplish with this sale? Because sometimes sellers are going to get stuck on what price they need, how much they need to make, but what you want them thinking about is why they're selling it. What's their motivation? So the third question is, tell me again, where are you moving to? And then you follow it up with, and how soon do you need to be there? Always keeping them in that feeling of what they're trying to accomplish as opposed to the logic, like how much money am I going to make from the sale? Number 4, when I see you, how much do you want to list the home for? You're trying to gauge, like, where are they at with wanting to sell the house? If it's an expired listing or for sale by owner, you obviously have an idea of what they want to list it for. But this could be someone that was referred to you, could be a lead that came in, and you want to gauge where they're at. If you just show up and you give all your comps, well, if it's not in the ballpark of what they're thinking, you're really going to turn them off. And sometimes it's going to be an unrealistic seller. Maybe they're way over what the market is telling them it's worth. And if they're way over, sometimes it might make sense to cancel the appointment before you ever go on it. And whatever they say to question number 4, you follow it up with, as a professional real estate agent, I study homes and prices every day. And you follow up question number 4, no matter what they say, no matter what price they give you with, as a professional real estate agent, I study homes and prices every day. Therefore, I assume you'll list with me at a price that will cause the home to sell. Correct? And anytime you see like ... in the script, that's a chance for you to pause. Number 5, how much do you owe on the property? Now, sometimes they're going to hesitate during this question. This is where their guard might come up. So if you sense that they're hesitating, or maybe they're coming back to you with a question like, why do you need to know that? You're going to keep your cool, and immediately you're just going to say, I completely understand your hesitation. And the reason I want to know is so I can prepare you a net sheet showing how much you'll be able to make after selling the house. Simple. Just make sure if you use this, that you actually show up with a net sheet. As a great agent, you should always be providing a net sheet anyways, but just double check and make sure that you have that as part of your listing package and with you on the appointment, because they're going to be expecting it. Number 6, have you thought about selling it yourself? You want to create some doubt in this question, kind of make it sound like, it'd be silly for you to sell it on your own, but you want to know are they considering for sale by owner? So have you ever thought about selling it yourself? So be thinking about your tonality with these questions. Number 7, in a minute or two, could you please describe the home for me? This is a great chance for you to understand what kind of personality type they are and really what they think about their house. So be taking notes and keep them talking. You really want to hear a minute or two of what features the house has. But if they kind of get on tangents, make sure that you reel them back in and then follow up with this question. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your home? Whatever they give you, follow it up with, and what would make it a 10? So off the bat, what's wrong with the house? Is the roof old? Should the kitchen be remodeled? This is helpful when you get into the listing presentation and you're talking about price, because you can go back to this. I completely agree with what you mentioned on the phone yesterday with me, that the kitchen really does need to be remodeled. And if you had remodeled the kitchen, maybe you could get the $250,000 for it. But based on the current kitchen, I recommend a price of $225,000. Are you ready to list your home with me today at that price? So you come back and you can use this information during your listing presentation. That's the whole purpose of this. All right, number 9, do you have any questions before I arrive? You're just trying to get out any other objections that they might have. And number 10, I just want to make sure all the decision makers will be there, correct? You never want to go on a listing appointment unless every decision maker is going to be there. I promise. If, say, for example, only the husband meets with you, but the husband and wife get to meet with the other agent that they're interviewing, they're going to go with that agent 9 times out of 10. So you want to make sure that all decision makers are there. And also you want them to be able to make a decision on the spot. And if only one decision maker is there, you're never going to get the listing paperwork signed on the spot. And then you just wrap it up with this. And just so you know, our meeting should only take about 30 minutes. Is that okay? Great. I look forward to seeing you Friday at 4 p.m. So that's the pre-qualification script. I would never go on a listing appointment unless you've had an opportunity to do this. This is crucial. You need all this information. Early on, a few times I would go on maybe a listing appointment that was referred to me by a past client or a friend, or maybe it was a friend having me over to do the listing appointment. So because there was some comfort there, I didn't go over all the questions, and every single time something came up that I didn't expect. I wasn't positioned as the expert. It was too casual. So just make it a rule of thumb in your business that no matter what, whenever you go out to a listing appointment, you're always going to do the pre-qualification script. And like I said, guys, if you want a copy of this, there'll be a link in the description. Feel free to go there, download it, use it, tape it to your wall, and you'll be a rock star agent, trust me, when you're using this script. And if you're getting value from these videos, hit the subscribe button and give it a like. It'd really help me out. We'll see you guys.